introduce good friends of mine, Lahav Reznik and Michael Switzer, who are the managing partners of Forest Hill Legacy, Vaughan, Aurora, and Witchwood.
Yes. Well, so Mikey and I, we were working at different brokerages, to be unnamed, and we did a deal together. So I was on the selling side. Mikey had the buyers, they brought them in. And back in those days, you did an inspection with pretty much every purchase.
Yeah. And you both showed up to the inspection.
Yeah. And the agents actually showed up to the inspections, which we still do today. Yeah. But we both showed up and, his clients are walking through the house with the inspector. And I'm sitting there just, to answer any questions or try to guide the inspector in a certain way because they don't really always know everything about the house itself. And,
I was a top producer at my brokerage. He was a top producer at his brokerage. And we both just sort of bonded over the things that we disliked about our brokerages, which is like the things that most agents dislike about their brokerages, hidden fees and, rude admin and like lack of support, like all the stuff that is like the staple of what our brokerage has become is exactly what we discussed that first day.
Yeah, we were ultimately bitching and complaining about, it's great that we're actually sitting there and we're doing this and we're trying to make this deal happen. And meanwhile, agents are lazy and they're not coached properly, they're not mentored properly. And I already had the mindset where it was, I wanted to change the world of real estate.
How long before you guys actually pulled the trigger? Because, you talk to people who are entrepreneurs in general, and it's not, you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm good to go. What kind of things did you have to check off each of you individually before you could honestly wake up and say, I'm ready to take the plunge?
We were both in positions where we were doing pretty well in the industry already. So it wasn't the kind of thing where it was like this office was never started with the traditional way that most real estate brokerages start, which is like, let's go make all the money. Like when we started this, it was like, I guess, I don't know what the word is other than boutique, like family oriented and just like a smaller group of people. And obviously now we have a lot more agents, but we still have that vibe in the air and the environment in our office. When you walk through, that is what we have in our office. And it's like, it comes right off that whiteboard, exactly what you're talking about.
So we're sitting there, I'm thinking we're ready to go. I approached Mikey and he was not quite there. We were still building our relationship. And
we did speak with a few other brokerages beforehand and it just didn't feel right. And from the second that we went to go meet with the family from Forest Hill, we literally went to Morton's, walked out, and I was like, let's go. Yeah. Like, it was like, these people are lovely people and they really are lovely people. And it was just, and from then I've never regretted that decision.
It was a quick decision.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's our history.
We had to get a little scotch.
Yeah.
But I was like,
I feel like it's always important to have a little bit of as we say in Yiddish, a l'chaim before you start some sort of business adventure. So now you start, it's the two of you, you walk into your office day one. And day one.
Well, day one, there was no office.
Oh, okay.
Our office was Starbucks.
Our office, we worked at a Starbucks. Yeah. So we were physically looking for the right space.
So you were actually a Forest Hill brokerage without space.
Correct. We were registered along with Mikey's brother, Steve, who's our partner at the Vaughan office, which was the first office. And that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But
our partner in all the offices.
Yeah. And we ultimately switched over to Forest Hill right away, right to head office's address. So we were working out of a Starbucks trying to recruit agents to an office that doesn't exist, that we didn't even know where it was going to be.
I can imagine the conversation. Hi, would you like to join a brokerage that doesn't exist? That's here.
The funny thing is,
would you like sugar with your coffee?
Would you have frappuccino? The reality is like, I don't want to work in a place with people that I don't like. I want to work in a place with people that I love and that I want to succeed and that I want to mentor and that I want to train and that I want to share my secrets with, whatever secrets I have.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it just comes down to like, we have one life to live. I want to be with people that I want to grow with and that we all, become that family.
Right. And there's got to be something else that you're talking to them about or, understanding that you say, this is what tips me over the edge of this is why I want the person to join.
Look, and I'm going to answer that. Look, the way we're structured, without getting into details, if our agents are not making money, we don't make money. We want to be in a position where we want to enjoy taking that phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning to answer questions in order for them to make the deal. So the person sitting across from us, they have to be like-minded. We have to click with them.
People respond to information that they found beneficial for them. So that's why, share real information about real estate or how to sell real estate. That's where a lot of the time, especially the younger agents that we're getting, they have been greatly influenced by all of these real estate shows. So they might look at us and say, okay, these guys are my new managers, and like they kind of know, but I think I know more about what I've learned from how this works. So I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that I portray this character.
What, if anything, would you have done differently?
It took us years to sort of be able to groom ourselves so that we can be a certain way for our agents, the way that they need it. It took us many years to build a partnership, to go through peaks and valleys. Like with every partnership, there's always going to be ups and downs.
It sounds so lame, but I really can't think of anything that would have changed. Yeah. And maybe that's a good thing. But like, I think going through those peaks, and especially the valleys, that's what leads you into becoming what you are. And it's just like in life, like you can't discount the tough times. Like the tough times is what makes you tough. The tough times is what makes you stronger and smarter.
When we first opened the office, we physically found that space, 6 months in. It took us another 3 months to get it renovated and going. When we opened that office, Vaughn was the first one, and we had right now we've got 3 units over in there. We had just the one unit. It was about 1,000 square feet, and in fact, my office that I'm in right now was our former boardroom, which was tiny. For the number of agents was perfect. Now, obviously, it's not. But the idea is that when we first got in there, we were like, you know what? If we have no agents,
if it's just for us,
if it's just us,
that's what we were planning on doing.
The expense of running that is the same expenses we had paying our brokerages. So like let's grow this for ourselves. So and let's bring some agents on for the ride. And what we noticed right away was that people were coming to us and their income was going up every single year. In fact, one agent, not to be named, came in as a top producer making $200K. Again, this is 10 years ago. $200K 10 years ago was
something like that. Yeah.
250 or whatever it was. Yeah. And as a top producer came in, and he came to us really on a
it's one of my top competitors
at the time. Yeah. But he came to us really just on guys, I trust in you.
Yeah.
All right. Like you're in my area. I want to join you guys.
So lighten it up a little bit before I went into my last serious one.
All right.
Wait. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
You go ahead.
Look, first of all, pineapple in general is a very sensitive topic. But that being said, I think variety is good. I think variety is good. I think a little bit of pineapple from time to time.
Went from yes or no to a philosophical conversation
do you explain about why pineapple is
yes or no? Pineapple on pizza or not?
Sometimes yes.
Pineapple on pizza, absolutely. Pineapple on pizza is the way to go. Hawaiian or with pepperoni.
See, pineapple. Pineapple does not.
Bro, come on.
See?
That's a Canadian.
You gotta open your mind, bro. You gotta open your mind.
I love pineapple.
Try new things.
Have you ever tried it?
Yes.
And you feel that way?
I still feel that way. It's the same thing as dipping sauce. I don't like dipping sauce. I don't do dipping sauce.
And I'm a dipper. Can we get onto something real then? This is not a good topic. I'm not winning this one.
I like that.
I'm not winning this one.
All right. Who's winning the NBA championship this year?
Not the Raptors.
I think we all would have said not the Raptors. Boston.
I don't Philly. I'm thinking Philly.
Boston's You're Philly without Harden?
Yeah, without Harden.
Boston's a dirty team.
Like Philly because Harden's not actually playing.
I don't know why we're taking away Denver.
I was going to say, I think Denver does a repeat as long as, Jokic doesn't work out and doesn't do all the things that he does to win championships.
He just goes and rides horses and then comes and wins games.
So I'm picking Denver. If you had to pick a winner for the Stanley Cup, who are you picking?
Every year I say the same thing, man. This is our year. Let's go Leafs. But no, really? Leafs. The Leafs are going to win it. This is our year. Let's go.
All right. Go Leafs go. Go Leafs go. I want to talk about we're here on a podcast, but you guys have your own podcast. And I'd love to talk about it and tell me about it because it has the coolest title ever. And I want to hear about what you talk on that podcast. So I'm going to let you tell the audience what's the name of the podcast.
So what Mama never told you about real estate.
Love that title.
Yeah.
Love that title.
You know what it was? We were literally sitting down at the first one and we just threw that out there and it clicked. The best part of the podcast is the stuff that's not said when we're filming. The 20 minutes, 30 minutes before filming starts or the Uber ride down because we're not driving because we're having a couple of drinks.
The best part of his podcast, because it's Lahav's podcast, I will say. I mean, obviously we do it with him, but the best part about it is that he brings out drinks. So there's always
what kind of drinks? What are you guys drinking?
He always has an old fashioned or there's a nice glass of scotch with some ice because he knows I like scotch. I don't really like old fashioned. Even though what is old fashioned? Is it scotch?
It has bourbon,
but whatever it's got. So by the time that we're at this point in our journey, I'm like So, let me tell you that one time, and it's like, but you could just be totally relaxed and it's fun. And sometimes you watch it, you're like, what the hell? Why was I leaning back so far? Why was I so red?
We go off on tangents.
Yeah.
We get, it gets really, really funny. We start jawing at each other because that's who we really are, any given time. And in fairness, that's how we are as well.
Yeah.
It's just a little harder when you're on a lawyer's podcast,
a legal
podcast.
lawyer's podcast that has no fun on the side.
Right. We can't talk about how every 2 or 3 times a game when we're playing ball, I'm yelling at you to give the ball up earlier or to not pass. We can't talk about that stuff.
The best when we play ball.
2 to 3?
He tells me exactly where to go and it always works. I'm like his soldier. He's like, okay, now go there, turn this way. I'm going to put the ball in your left hand, turn with your right hand and score. I'm like, I'm like, hey, how'd you know how to do that?
The craziest thing is he's telling you that in front of us,
I know,
defending you.
I know.
And yet the whole process happens and there you are at the layup.
And it's the only time I'll ever score is when Isaac okay, now turn that way. I'm going to put the ball right here and then lay it up. Oh, it works every time.
That's my favorite. My favorite is when I can set somebody up and it's funny because we play Lahav together and you get to your spot and I know you're lining up and I got to time it and I got about 2 seconds to time it right in your hands and I know it's going in. It's like a thing
automatic.
Of beauty. It's on automatic, right? Yeah. And those for you in the audience don't know, me and Lahav play together on the same team. I'm the point guard. Lahav is a drop dead shooting guard. So, as a point guard, there's nothing more than true value of knowing that you've given a perfect pass to somebody, it ready in their shooting pocket, and it just goes in. It's beautiful.
The best is when you make the pass. You make the pass and I'm up there, I'm taking the shot and I turn to you to give you a point and you already have your back halfway down the court because it's going in. So I love that. That respect's awesome.
Yeah, I come to play with them sometimes, but I'm more of like, what would you call me? The pylon?
No, you call yourself the pylon.
I do call myself the pylon.
You're the enforcer.
Yeah. You're the enforcer.
You're the Ty Domi of
knock people around. Exactly.
See the hockey reference. Yeah, I got a look up of them.
So I love it. We started talking about your podcast and then we moved down to basketball. So back to the podcast. Okay. We got to get some content here. Podcast.
Yes.
So what mama never told you about real estate? Tell me, what do you guys, obviously you talk about real estate in general, but is there, some, what was your favorite topic? What was your favorite podcast? What did you talk about?
Oh man. You know what? We talked, recently we did it on, deals not closing, from the legal side. People don't realize some of the things that come into play that once the deal's done, it's not done until the actual closing date. And then we started bringing in the fact that the US, deals done in the United States, these American agents, and we came back to the Selling Sunset, the $1 million listings. These guys are all doing deals. 80% of those deals don't close. So you see them doing a deal in the States and it goes right to the closing date and suddenly they can't get financing. So you know what, man? Deal just doesn't close. They can walk away from their deal right up until closing in the States. Now, almost every state, not everyone's like that, but almost every state here, a deal's conditional nowadays, 5 days on financing, inspection, which is a typical. You get through that conditional period, the deal's going to close nowadays 95% of the time. I'll turn to the lawyer. 95% of the time the deals are closing.
More than that.
Probably more than that.
I don't think once we pass conditions, we're not, there's very rare circumstances where it doesn't close. And again, it's very, very rare.
So that being said, we talked about the few times that they weren't closing. We gave examples of how, forgive my language, some idiot agents out there just didn't cross their T's and dot their I's, and it gave a buyer an out. Anything from legal descriptions not being complete, where there was a question on title, whether it was whatever it might be, it gave somebody an opportunity to at least argue the out, right? And those things nowadays, you got to be very, very careful, right? You want deals to close. We our clients aren't happy until the deal actually closes.
Yeah, I prefer, I like going in for the real estate stuff is one thing, but I find it's more entertaining for me to watch us just shooting the shit, just hanging out and having a good meeting and just hanging out the way we would hang out. That's, and even for something like this, I find it, whenever I'm trying to do something, I'm always thinking would I want to watch this? Right. And if I saw another top producing real estate agent, a couple of guys and a lawyer sitting there talking, would I want to watch this if it wasn't, engaging me, entertaining me, informing me?
If we didn't talk about pizza.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's a good question. I personally like hearing other people give their opinions on where we're going, because I think how is the market is the most common question that any real estate agent's going to get. We can be at Starbucks, you could be at a bar mitzvah, you could be anywhere in this world and people walk up to you and go, how's the market? And no matter what's happening, you're like, and you have to start getting into this conversation.
So we've just come off major interest hikes, but the forecast is that they're going to drop in 2 years. So, as it stands right now, what is the market like in Toronto? What is the market like in GTA? And what is the market now as you see as a whole in Ontario?
Yeah. The market's amazing. In fairness, in every single given market, you've got amazing parts to the market. There's always opportunity. Market we're in right now, there's an opportunity. Pricing's low, a lot more things to choose from. You can get in there and not have a bidding war. There's a lot of great opportunities right now. Interest rates, they've stalled them at this point. It went exactly where we thought it would go. Now leading into, the winter time, we've had a quick little blurb of increased showings, a lot more sales happening in the last 2 weeks alone.
Well, it's interesting, and we talk about whether market was crazy or not, right? You talk about 2 years ago and bidding wars and prices, but then it also created unaffordability.
So this is what we talk about when we do these training sessions.
Is that an amazing market for sellers? Sure.
Yeah.
Right. But then people are like, the market's not good.
Those sellers then have to become buyers right after. Right. So they're buying. So it's a wash. So the best word I can think of, like the first word that comes to my mind for this market over the last year, is the word grind. It has been a grind. It still has been an active market. I think that we've been averaging between 4,500 to 4,600 deals a month. That's 9,000 transactions for agents if you break it up.
Right.
So is it the the crazy amount of sales that are happening every month that people got used to in a spoiled market where the things were going crazy when the interest rates were low and the mortgage rates were low? No, but it's more of a realistic market for those who have been in this business for more than 5 years. This is more of like a normal market. Now, the rates are still not astronomical. We're looking at rates that in comparison to other down markets that were double the rates that they are now. That's a different story.
If not triple at some points.
Well, exactly.
This is a norm we've been in the business for a long time. This is a norm for us. We're used to this. The crazy bidding war markets, that wasn't realistic. It was fun. It was a great ride, but it's not realistic. Being able to sell a home in today's market takes a real talent. It's not about putting a sign on the lawn, putting it on MLS,
but the question of where the opportunity lays, like there is still so much opportunity because of misinformation. So you have all of these people, buyers, sellers, and the majority of real estate agents who get their information from the news, who don't really understand what's actually happening. So they have this mentality that the sky has fallen in the market when in fact it has not fallen. So what you can do if you're well represented is you can play into that. So we eat that up all day long. Yeah. So what I'm looking for someone who wants to move up right now. That's the opportunity. The opportunity is that the properties that you're selling has not come down in value. In most cases around the GTA, it's up a little bit or even. So if you could look at it and say, all these people think that their house is down when in fact it hasn't, I want to go and capitalize on one of these people, and quite frankly, on behalf of my clients, get a good deal for a house and sell their house, and maybe not in that order. Sell their house first would be a little bit more conservative or safe. Yeah. Sell for a good price, buy low. It's like the classic cliche, sell high,
but you're
buy
doing
low.
The same market. So it makes no difference. You're buying and selling in a lower market. But on the buy side, you have a lot more opportunity.
The opportunities for buyers is huge right now.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
So then where does this go? What do you guys see happening?
Well, look, predictions are, and I'm supporting the predictions. Predictions are rates are going to start coming down mid 2024. It doesn't take the rates to come down for a couple things to happen. One, it doesn't take rates to come down for buyer confidence to kick in. That can kick in as soon as people feel comfortable with the level that we're at, knowing that, hey, you know what? I need to buy. We've got, we're getting divorced. We're having more children. We need more space. We want a bigger house. We want a smaller house. Those activities, those transactions are going to happen regardless.
In order to move up a bit, you might have to spend a couple $1,000s more a month. If you can afford it, is what I'm trying to say. Right. Then now is a fantastic time to do it. It's a fantastic time to move up. Is this a great time for a first-time buyer? Nope. Is this first, like those are the people.
Although they're already starting to change rules related to first-time buyers and making it easier for them. They're starting to change rules already related to.
But I mean, they've been saying that for a long time.
And they also taking out competition. I mean, we have the non-resident tax. We have the Toronto. And here's another. I mean,
first-time buyer
rebates. You have a lot of things that are helping first buyers. But then you have Mayor Olivia Chow comes in Toronto, adds in an extra couple of percentages.
Don't get me started.
Listen,
it's not an extra couple of percentages. Those increases, this luxury tax
let's talk about it. So the luxury tax is what? From your understanding, I mean, we know if you buy a home over $3 million in Toronto, how much extra are you paying in luxury tax?
There's a scale to it. I think it's at a 3% on top of the land. It's astronomical.
So
whatever
it actually comes out to almost 7%.
On top of the land transfer tax.
Right.
On top of
it. It's her luxury tax on top of it. You buy $7-8 million home, it could be an extra 6%, whatever it is. The breakdown is I'm not even wrapping my head around it. It makes no sense
at all that would be important.
So would that create, like, for example, a whole bunch of listings at 2.9, 2.8 in the city of Toronto that like normally would have sold for 3.5, 3.4, but they're not going to sell at 3.4 because it's going to cost an extra $200,000 in land transfer tax, argumentatively.
It's all relative. There's going to be creative ways of people to try to make deals happen.
Yeah.
It might be, in order for the buyer to avoid paying this extra tax, hitting that threshold, there will be deals done just under that number. Absolutely. Based on that, right? Or there's going to, again, maybe there's going to be a take back for a certain portion of time that's interest free and blah, blah, blah. And then it gets paid off directly. There's going to be
even just you saying that, like an extra 7% tacked on, like that's a significant huge extra hit. The land transfer was always that extra hit, especially when you go into the city. So, we do a lot of work both 905 and 416. And, even for, all of us actually live in 905, like I can't even imagine that feeling of like buying the house, paying the land transfer, and then realizing like, oh wait, what's this? Now This is here too. It's like, it's ridiculous for buyers right now, whether they're first time buyers or 10-time buyers. They're like, for the last decade, it has been the most competitive market to be a buyer in the GTA that you can ever imagine. Bidding war after bidding war after bidding war. That's the irony of why this market is so frustrating right now, because as agents who have been watching people for years, throwing their money into the wind in these bidding wars, now all of a sudden there's this opportunity and the inventory has increased like 50%. Like there's a lot of inventory and everything's sitting quietly right now. And you're just like, hey man, don't you realize that like the difference of what those rate, like in comparison to how much the house could potentially sell for right now, like it's way more in your benefit right now to just assume once again, you can afford it. To buy a property rather than wait for the rates to go down again when all of a sudden it's going to, because what will happen is that the inventory that's on the market will get swept away very quickly. Once the rates come down, buyers will start buying again, and we're going to come back to the exact same position that we were in before, which is the ongoing crisis of homes and the lack of homes to buy.
How about this? Hey, Mikey, no, let's not buy now. Rates are a little bit higher. We could always lock in for a year, wait for the rates to come down. No, let's not do that. Let's wait till there's no more inventory. Yeah. Then end up in bidding wars, pay $60,000 or $70,000 more, which will be a hell of a lot more than the interest rate increase that we've got right now. That's a great plan. Let's do that.
You don't have to look any further than just look at the numbers. The numbers of this basically show very simple. It makes sense to buy real estate in the GTA. It makes sense to be a real estate owner if you can afford to be a real estate owner. The average price increase 3 years in the GTA is at 27%. 5 years is just over 50% increase. 5 years, 121% increase over the last 10 years in real estate prices. Like that's a pretty good return, and it's a safe return that you live in.
Lahav Reznik, Michael Switzer from Forest Hill.
Thank you, Isaac.
Legacy offices in Aurora, Witchwood, and Vaughan. If you need any help, you need contact, you need to talk to an agent. These guys are amazing, good friends of mine, great agents. Thank you guys both for coming.
And back at you, Isaac, the best in the business, man. Appreciate you. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, gents.
Okay. Thanks, guys.